Hello, Internet. So your fear of public speaking, it's not what you think it is. It's actually a fear of embarrassment, a fear of appearing inadequate. And by the way, welcome to the Empirical Sword. I'm Lore Master DLC79. I happen to believe that school doesn't teach. You have to be the masters of our education. And I'll talk more about that at the end of the video. But yeah, how is public speaking a fear of inadequacy? Well, okay, that one's kind of obvious. You're and actually maybe you're not afraid of public speaking. I mean, most people are. It's like one of the most common fears on planet Earth, and there's a reason for that. It's that people don't want to be perceived as inadequate. People don't want to get in front of a crowd and make a mistake and be judged for it. And there's a reason for this. To understand it, we have to rewind about 10,000 years. Back when we wore animal skins and hunted with stone tools and lived in tribes. And it was essentially the tribal unit that was responsible for keeping everybody alive. And the rules were very, very strict. If you weren't competent at something, you were a liability. And if the tribe as a whole disliked you bad enough or thought you were incompetent enough or inadequate enough, you were thrown out, cast out into the wilderness to fend for yourself, which was usually a death sentence. Which means that our fear of being perceived as inadequate is a fear of death. Which is why most things relating to being perceived as inadequate results in these very, very common fears, such as fear of public speaking, or just fear of being embarrassed in a group. I mean, have you ever been in a classroom and the teacher asks a question and then somebody answers with some sort of like joking answer, and it's funny, and you start laughing, and you laugh so hard that you fart in the middle of the classroom? That's happened to me, by the way. Speaking from experience. And then all of a sudden, they're not laughing at the guy who said something funny. They're laughing at the guy who farted in the middle of the classroom. Fear of embarrassment. Fear of being ridiculed. Fear of being perceived as less than competent by the group, by the tribe. And we have so many modern-day tribes, nations, cultures, religions, races. On a small scale, we have businesses, age groups, high school classes, classrooms, homerooms, sports teams, cliques and gangs, and which table you sit at during lunch. I'm glad I'm no longer in high school. That's all I can say. But we somehow psychologically and emotionally get attached to our groups, our tribes, and we're deathly afraid of doing anything that will embarrass us in front of them. And here's the thing. We no longer live 10,000 years ago when this group of 20 to 100 people is the only thing standing between us and death. Because, way back then, if your tribe kicked you out, next tribe is probably somewhere on the other side of the river or mountain range or something. You're probably not going to get there alive, if you even know where there is. I mean, tribes back then were effectively islands. You either stay on it and live, or you try your luck with the wolves. Today, if this group or clique doesn't like you, find another one. It's easy. I mean, I forget how old I was. I was young, but a friend of mine at the time, we were like in, I want to say Walmart, but it might have been Kmart because Kmart was a thing back then. But we were browsing the toy section, and you know how the toys come in like there's this cardboard backing, and you have like the plastic bubble, and you have all the pieces of the action figure in there. You have the actual figure, and then all those little weapons and doodads and whatnots. My friend at the time, we're not friends anymore because you don't need to know about that. It's basically, I believe he was a borderline psychopath, and the story will kind of elaborate on that. He was like, oh, you could just peel this back a little, take the one of these little plastic things, sneak it out in your pocket. Why? So you can have it. Well, why would I want to do that? I mean, well, it's only wrong if you get caught. See, this is the type of person you don't want to be hanging around, by the way. And that is part of the reason why we're not friends anymore. Not that specific incident, but a recurring pattern of behavior there. And it's like, if a group of people, or a single person in this case, doesn't want to accept you because of your values, your morals, or just things you just do or do not want to do, find another group. It's easy. Because, I mean, there's like almost 8 billion people on planet Earth. I don't know how that subdivides into groups or whatever, tribes, if that's the word you want to use. I mean, if one group doesn't want you, there are probably billions of others. So this whole fear of embarrassment, or associating embarrassment with death, we don't live in that world anymore. It's like we don't need this neurological wiring. But I mean, we're descendants of those people, so it's still hardwired up in there. We still get that like visceral, oh crap, I'm about to die of embarrassment feeling whenever something like that happens. And it's like, we don't need that. And the trick, here's the trick. We have to be consciously aware of when this visceral gut reaction in our heads happens and starts to stand in our way of doing things that we need to do. Like sticking to our guns and not compromising our principles or our values just to make other people happy. I mean, if you have crap values, then that's a completely different story. But I mean, by and large, most people have pretty decent values. And when you get in trouble is because it's when you have to compromise your values to satisfy a group that you don't want to let down. And in the example of my ex-friend who wanted me to essentially swipe a little piece of plastic because, oh, you can. No. Just flat out no. I mean, no explanation for that answer should even be needed. And it's... I recognize that for a lot of people, it's very emotionally difficult to let down people that we care about in order to not damage our own value system. And the truth is, your own value system is really more, at the end of the day, it's more important than what a handful of people think about you. Because you have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. You don't have to live with them. You can just find more people, or different people whose values actually go with yours. And that's basically the trick right there. If you're around people whose values are similar to yours, you're not going to have that fear of embarrassment because there's no way you can get embarrassed in front of them. they're not going to judge you harshly because of some decision or accidentally farting in the middle of class. I mean, most people overlook that because, I mean, sometimes it's an involuntary reaction. Sticking to your values, on the other hand, that's a conscious decision, and as long as you have decent values, the people around you should be accepting of that. It's if you are around people with crap values, then change your tribe. Find a different tribe. Bottom line, simple as that. They're out there, and that's it right there. That's the trick. Just be around the right people, and recognize when your brain is making you feel this, and then counter it with logic. Do I really need to be this afraid of this thing? Do I really need to be afraid of standing in front of this group of people? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? If you stand in front of a group of people, you're giving a speech, and you mispronounce a word. What's the worst that can happen? Are they going to kill you? Don't think so. And if they are, just get out. If you can. I'm laughing because now I'm trying to imagine what kind of scenario would lead to being in that situation where you have to give a speech perfectly, pronouncing every word perfectly, or they will kill you. I mean, that's out there. Just to give you an idea of how ridiculous that fear is. Anyway, that is the point of this video. Again, counter it with logic. Surround yourself with people whose values jive with yours. That way you can avoid feeling the embarrassment, at least as intensely as is usual. And again, also experience is it kind of tempers emotional reactions. I mean, obviously, if you've never been in front of a group of people giving a speech, it's going to be a little scary. But, I mean, it's not going to kill you. Again, that's the wacky scenario in my head. That's the thing that's making me laugh. It's just so out there. Public speaking won't kill you. So it's not as scary as you think it is. So anyway, if you got something out of this video, if you got or something out of this message, then share it with someone else who might get something out of it, because we don't want to be selfish. And also, yeah, I do videos every day. Not always. Oh, school doesn't teach. Do my regular sign off before I actually end the video. I happen to believe the school doesn't teach. Because, I mean, this right here, this is something you will not get in school, usually. I mean, I know I didn't. So we have to be the masters of our education, at least until we can reform the school system. And that is the end goal, reforming the school system. We need people for that. And part of what I want to do here is get this kind of content in front of gamers. That's why I do a bunch of gaming content on my channel. I'm trying to lead gamers over to this, where they can get the things that school should have taught them, but didn't. Because truth is, we all need this. I mean, whether you're wanting to reform the school system or just live your own life and forge your own path, this is stuff we should have had in like elementary school. And yeah, I do videos every day. This is a once a week thing. And if you want to watch anything else, feel free. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon as well, because that turns on notifications, which is how you get notifications when I drop videos like this or like my gaming content. And whatever you're watching next, I will see you then.